Louisiana Senator John Kennedy always knows exactly what his fellow lawmakers need to hear, so there was no one better to ask about what comes next. Senator John Kennedy, I'm so excited to sit down with you. I say you are the funniest person on Capitol Hill. I think you're great. And I know you have a lot of thoughts about a lot of things going on. It feels like we just got through the last government shutdown. Yeah. But it's almost hard to believe. We're only weeks away, actually, from the temporary funding measure ending and a potential, second wave of government shutdown coming. So what's going to happen here?
Well, it's really up to my Democratic colleagues in the Senate. You can lead a person to Congress, but you can't make him think. If the Democrats want to shut it down again, it would be a huge mistake for them. It would be horrible for the American people. But, on the last one, Laura, I voted 14 times to open up government, and they voted 14 times to keep it shut down. And somehow, with a straight face, tried to blame it on us. Finally, they agreed to open it up. And I hope they don't do it again, but there's some things you can't control. It's up to my Democratic friends.
Well, we'll hope for the best on that. The thing that I think Americans are talking about right now is affordability. We keep hearing about it. We know the president is obviously working on this, but you've actually called on your colleagues on Capitol Hill in Congress to deal with this via reconciliation. So what can actually be done from the Capitol Hill's perspective on this?
Well, it's important to put it in context. We had 9% inflation a few years ago. That inflation didn't originate in a vat. It was man-made, and that man's name was Joe Biden. Now, President Trump and the Republicans in Congress and the Federal Reserve have gotten that inflation down from 9% to 3%. So things are much, much, much better. But we may be better, but we're not well, and there's more we can do. We can reduce the cost of health care. We know what to do. We have bills already to lower the cost of housing. Or we have over 200 changes to our tax code that will stimulate the economy and increase wages. The problem as it always is, in the Senate, Democrats won't vote for it. So the alternative is to do what we did when we passed one big, beautiful bill. Under what's called reconciliation, we don't need any Democratic support. I welcome their support, but I don't think they're going to help us. And what I'm frustrated about is that the last reconciliation bill we did, the one big, beautiful bill, was July 1. Since then, we've been sitting on our ice cold, lazy butts and not getting more bills passed. Now, I'm not saying we've been doing nothing. We've been confirming nominees and been working on the budget, and all that's important. But we better listen to the American people here. President Trump is listening to the American people. And when they lie down, moms and dads lie down to sleep at night and can't, they're worried about the cost of living. And we're going to address it, and we can. But the president can't do it all by himself. We've got to pass some laws.
Well, we're glad he's got at least you there and some good support on the Republican side to hopefully see that through. This is definitely something the Democrats are going to be targeting as we head into next year's midterm elections. There is no doubt about that. Do you think that them saying free everything, free all the time for everyone is going to be the strategy? And will that work for the American people?
Well, there is no free lunch. You know that. Anything free, somebody had to work for. And my Democratic friends leave that out. They believe in free everything. Free health care, free education, free money, free sex, free kittens, free everything. But there is nothing free in this world. And America is great because we understood that. The American people have figured all this out, Laura. They have. And I'm very confident about the midterms. We're just going to go work and talk to the American people. They're plenty smart. They'll figure all this out.
Well, it's important for Republicans because there are already 30 GOP lawmakers who've said they are not seeking re-election. And I'm wondering your thoughts on that. And I also would like to get your thoughts on, I'm going to let you listen to some sound here from someone named Jasmine Crockett, who's also running for a United States Senate seat. Take a listen to this.
The gloves have been off, and now I'm jumping into the ring. I'm asking for your support to be the next United States Senator from the greatest state of Texas. I'm done with the senators sitting around doing nothing while Trump takes your hard-earned money, skims your Social Security, slashes Medicare, and gives tax breaks to billionaires. I'm done.
She's done, Senator. Is she done? Is she cooked? Is this going to happen? What do you think?
Well, look, the Congress, this is America, Laura, as you know. We all have the right to express our opinion. You're not free if you can't say what you think. And the Congresswoman has the right to her opinion. But I have the right to mine. And somebody needs to tell the Congresswoman. It'll be in her best interest. They need to tell her that the voices in her head are not real. She is wrong on every single issue. The people of Texas will never embrace her message. I don't know why she's doing this, but you know, you have the right in America to do dumb things if you want to. And she will be leaving Congress. And as far as the other 30 folks that are leaving Congress, look, I get it. I don't want anybody to be in Congress who doesn't want to be here. Because this stuff's working for the American people. You got to give it 110%. So if people are unhappy, you know, don't let the door hit them in the butt on the way out.
Well, not that we're in the business of giving much advice to people like Congressman Jasmine Crockett and AOC, by the way. But if we did give them advice, I would say they might take a page from your book, How to Test Negative for Stupid and Why Washington Never Will. So tell me overall what people should take away from this. Where do you see the Democrat Party versus the Republican Party right now?
Well, my book talks about that, and I'm really proud of it. We're #1 on the New York Times bestseller.
Amazing.
list.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Laura. It's not a policy book per se. It's a story book that explains policy. And really, it explains to the American people why, as bad as Washington looks from the outside, it's even worse from the inside. But why it doesn't have to be that way. If we just have a little return to common sense. And as I say to my people back home, look, I'm an optimist. I'm a paranoid optimist, but I'm not going to bubble wrap it to the American people. The water in Washington, D.C. is not going to clear up until you get the pigs out of the creek. It's a personnel issue.
Well, we understand what that means. And speaking of home, down in Louisiana, you guys have Operation Catahoula Crunch. It's been very effective.
Yeah.
This is where ICE is targeting gang members, rapists, human smugglers. But, Senator, there are still those people out there, some of them elected officials, who aren't just protesting this, but suggesting that people should, you know, go after ICE agents and target them. What is your response to all of this, and what is your message to people who would do such a thing like that?
None of this is complicated. I don't know. I don't understand the controversy. Look, legal immigration is legal. We admit 1 million people into our country every year, more than any other country, legally. Legal immigration is legal. Illegal immigration is illegal. And all President Trump is doing is enforcing federal law. President Biden, he let between 8 million and 12 million people into our country. We don't have the slightest idea who they are. Some of them are probably good. I mean, I know, not just probably, they're good people. Some of them are criminals. All of them are here illegally. You've got to follow the law, duh. And so what's controversial about a president of the United States, any president, enforcing federal law? I don't get it.
Well, we're grateful he's there doing it, and we're grateful for you to sit down with us for a little bit of time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Love your show.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.